This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. So today I want to talk about a couple of things, right? One is going to lead into the other, but the main point of what I want to talk about is twofold. It's one, why you have to be extra kind of like, I don't want to say critical or skeptical, but you kind of have to look at the full picture of any kind of reporting that you get during training camp, for a couple of reasons, because, you know, things could be written truthfully, but not be telling the whole truth, or be trying to point you in a direction that they're trying to get you to, right? Not necessarily trying to just be objective about it. And I've had my topics on here about how I feel like objectiveness is something that's kind of invented. Everybody has a point of view, and it's more about finding that point of view and understanding the context of what that person is saying in that point of view. You know what I mean? And even that's the case with me, right? You got to find where my point of view is, and I'm pretty open with this. Some people try to hide it under a fake guise of objectivity, but I don't try to pretend like that's a thing, right? I'm a Browns fan. I want the Browns to win. I do my coverage in the hopes that the Browns win, but I try to be honest about what I'm seeing, and I try to be fair about any takes that I have, positive or negative. And not to say that other people don't do that, but I saw something pop up, and it involved two people. Who else would you think, right? Myles, Garrett, and Jed Wills. And really what I got from everything that I've heard from camp is that Myles Garrett is entering his prime. He looks different. He looks like he's ready to take that next step. He looks incredible. But if Myles Garrett is looking incredible, somebody's got to look bad, right? And this is the danger of training camp, because anybody being successful can be painted in the opposite direction as somebody else just failing, right? If Deshaun Watson cooks the defense, you could write an article saying, hey, Deshaun Watson looks great in camp. Most people will choose to do that. It's going to get more engagement, right? But you could also write an article that says Browns secondary in trouble, diced up for the second day in a row. If the Browns, let's say Myles Garrett, let's go back to the Myles Garrett example, right? Like if Myles Garrett is looking incredible, okay, you could write Myles Garrett looking amazing. Or you could write who it comes at the expense of, which is Jed Wills, when the truth is kind of somewhere in the middle. One, let's be fair to Jed Wills. I know a lot of people are out on him. I'm kind of just like right here. Like, I get why people get frustrated with Jed, but I'm not as frustrated as people online are with him, right? Like, I don't want him cut. I would be fine if he got extended. It depends on the amount of money. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good player, but not a great player. I think that's a fair place to put Jed Wills. But when I talk about Jed, I put that context out there. When other people talk about Jed, it's all about what he doesn't do. And I read this blurb in the article, right? Myles Garrett versus Jed Wills is just not a fair fight right now. I don't know how many sacks Myles could have had today if you were allowed to hit the quarterback, but it would have been in the double digits. Now, I heard that they only really ran 8 reps, so I don't know how accurate the double digit thing is. But two, no stuff, right? I almost cursed, but no stuff. This is a no shit Sherlock moment. Myles Garrett is going to look good in camp. Myles Garrett always looks good in camp. And when we're talking about a camp setting, you have to be honest about the context of the setting. Camp settings are not games for multiple reasons, especially along the line of scrimmage. Why? Because a lot of the work that defensive linemen are getting, a lot of work that offensive linemen are getting is just kind of vanilla protections. No double teams, no slides, no kind of diversion. It's basically a one-on-one drill in every play. And let me tell you something. There might be one tackle in the universe that is able to do something with Myles Garrett on a consistent basis on one-on-ones. Might be one. Might be one. Without help, without slides, without, any of that extra, might be one. That's Trent Williams. And maybe. That doesn't mean that Jed Wills is above, right? Now, if you're concerned about Jed, if you're worried about Jed, I would urge you to not really take too much of a grain, don't put too much stock into what you hear about Jed when he goes up against Myles. That's not that relevant. Myles is built to win one-on-one battles. He's just going to win them. That's just going to be what happens. There's a reason why he leads the league for 3 years in a row in double team rate, because he's the most dangerous person in the NFL to put one-on-one with anybody. We've seen it for 3 years. And this is the other thing that bugs me about, why do we act like we don't know Myles Garrett is one of the best defensive players on earth? Like, why do we act like this? We hear Jed Wills is struggling, and in our minds, we don't go, well, yeah, no shit. It's Myles Garrett in one-on-one drills. Of course he's going to. Let me know how he's doing against Zadarius Smith. Let me know how he's doing against Okoronkwo. Let me know how he's doing against these other guys, right? If Alex Smith is cooking up Jed Wills, that's something I want to hear about. One-on-one, none-on-one, I don't care. That's a problem, right? Like, that's a concern. If Okoronkwo was just whipping up on Jed Wills, I want to know that. But don't sit here and tell me the obvious. Myles Garrett is beating up on Jed Wills in practice. Duh, he's Myles Garrett. You could have Joe Thomas there, and it would still not be a fair fight for Joe Thomas, because half of the things that allows Joe Thomas to to block a guy like Myles Garrett is a lot of the protection stuff, a lot of the chips, a lot of the if this, then that. That's the stuff that slows down Myles Garrett in the game. But one-on-one, Joe Thomas would have a problem with that. It's not anything relevant. This is a completely unfair situation to judge Jed. And every time I talk about Jed, I swear people don't listen to me, and they just take like a second of what I say and run to whatever side of this stupid Jed Wills war that people are having, and then just like get mad at me. Right? I'll say something. People who like Jed Wills will run with him. You don't think he's a superstar. You think he's and then get mad at me like I'm hating on Jed Wills. And then people who hate on Jed Wills get mad at me like I'm just making him out to be something he's not. Like, would y'all both shut up? I'm so tired of the Jed Wills wars. I'm so tired of the media feeding into the Jed Wills wars. This man is an average tackle. He's an average tackle. That's all he is. He's a average tackle. He's for the love of God, can we learn something? Can we learn what to do with Like, for real? I'm so tired of arguing about a player who's decent when we got other things to talk about with this, man. Yeah, decent tackle don't look good against Myles Garrett. He's Myles Garrett. What are we surprised about? What are we arguing about? What are we upset about? Really, man? Like, people were mad because the clip came out where Myles spin cycled him. Yes, Jed's an average tackle. He's going to get spin cycled by Myles. We've seen Myles do this to people. We've seen Myles do this to Pro Bowlers, all pro tackles. You think Jed Wills ain't going to have that happen to him? It's not that big of a deal. He's Myles Garrett. Stop reacting to Myles Garrett dominating in practice as if it's not Myles Garrett. Again, if this were Okoronkwo, all right, that caliber of player shouldn't be dominating Jed Wills. If this were Alex Wright, all right, that caliber of player shouldn't be dominating Jed Wills. Hell, if Jed Wills couldn't look like an NFL tackle against Zadarius Smith, okay, there's a problem. But Myles Garrett, we acting like Myles Garrett's like some 80 overall. Like, he's really, he's the best. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, why do we do this, man? Why do we do this? Why do we do this? He's not, come on, man. I have no delusion that Jed Wills is like Trent Williams. I don't think Jed Wills is that good. I think he's just all right, man. Can we just let this man be all right? And some of y'all might want to upgrade at tackle, but the cold fact is that Jed Wills is good enough that you can't replace him in free agency and get anything better with the money that the Browns have, because the money that the Browns have is mid-range tackle money. And you know what mid-range tackle money gets you? It gets you Jed Wills. So you can't get that. You want to go in the second round and draft the tackle. Well, you know, usually the ceiling on the second round tackle is Jed Wills. That's usually the ceiling. You don't usually get Hall of Fame tackles in the second round, right? You usually get Jed Wills starters. That's what he is. So y'all have to deal with it. The man is all right. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing. He's just all right. At some point, we just have to accept that. He's not going to have a breakout. He's still going to do the stuff that makes you mad. He's Jed Wills, man. He's not that bad. He's not that great. He's just Jed Wills. But you know who is that great? Myles Garrett. And instead of appreciating him, we see Myles Garrett get double-digit sacks in 9 reps. I don't know how, or 8 reps. I don't know how that happens, but double-digit sacks at 8 reps, according to Jake Trotter. And the assumption is, oh my God, worry about Jed Wills. Instead of, oh my God, this is it. Myles might have that year. Because he's Myles Garrett. You should be more excited about Myles. So that's what happened in camp today. Cam Mitchell had a good day. He got an interception on Deshaun Watson. It seems like it was a slow day for the offense. Again, more of what you want to see, right? I don't want to see offense dominating defense all camp. I don't want to see defense dominating offense all camp. I want to see the offense win some days, the defense win some days. There'd be some ties thrown up in there, right? Like, you want to see this team compete with each other. That's what you want to see. And it looks like they're on the track for that. Greg Newsom did leave practice early. He might be injured. We'll see what happens there. It wasn't like he was carted off or anything. So if anything, this would be something that might keep him out of the second preseason game. Demetric Felton was returning kickoffs. That's interesting. That's going to go into one of my videos I'm going to post later. But that's kind of the wrap up for camp before we get to the Hall of Fame game. But let me know in the comment section. Instead of worrying about Jed Wills or wherever you think why is it that you guys feel like this fan base can't come to grips with Jed Wills just being okay? Like, what is it that makes us so incapable of accepting that and just living with that? Why is it that we have to argue that he is something he's not in both directions? Because constantly I am confronted by people who think Jed Wills is either the greatest thing on earth or the worst tackle in the NFL. And it's just not, none of those takes are even remotely true. He's pretty definitively average. He's like above average, slightly above average. He's a C+. And C+ is pretty hard to get at a left tackle. Now, is that worth the 10th pick in a draft? It's better than getting a player who can't start. And we've lived that life before. How many first round picks did the Browns have that didn't start? Hell, Trent Richardson, he started from 1 year in the NFL. 3rd pick in the draft. So don't tell me that's a failure of a pick. That might be one of the better picks, first round picks in franchise history. We don't hit on those much often. And this wasn't a super hit. We hit a double with Jed Wills, man. And why can't we appreciate doubles no more? Why does it have to be a home run or a strikeout? Why can't we just live with the ball being in play? It's baseball season, so I gave y'all a baseball analogy. Seriously. Why do we have to do this every day with Jed? When we know what's up. It's been what it is since 2020. Like, he's all right. We don't got to blame every misstep on the offense on him. We don't got to give him credit for everything the offense has ever done. We just have to just kind of like let him be. For real. He's not bad enough to warrant this attention, nor is he good enough to warrant this attention. I don't understand it. Let that man live. Leave him alone. If you hating on Jed Wills, if you hating on Jed Wills or you're riding on Jed Wills, whichever camp you are, stop it. Stop it. All right. This is the official notice. Stop it. Go to bed. Cut it out. Be normal. You ain't got to buy his jersey. You ain't got to burn his jersey. Just be normal. Be normal. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.